Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a monumental stack of reports. Think corporate strategy, global trade, AI developer data, the works. And we're boiling it all down into what you really need to know right now. We're cutting through the hype, the AI utopia versus AI doom stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
What we're looking at today, here in late 2025, is the reality. It's frantic, it's uneven, but AI adoption, it's massive. It's not theory anymore.
No, it's fundamental. It's the infrastructure being built right under our feet for business, for global trade, for, well, your career.
Exactly.
And the sources we've got, they're top tier. PwC, Goldman Sachs on strategy, the WTO on global economics, Anthropic giving us that user data straight from the source.
So our mission.
Filter the noise, deliver the actionable stuff, the surprising data points that actually define the path forward for you listening right now.
And the big claim, if you had to sum it all up, PwC really hammers this home.
It's stark, really. The AI choices you make this year, they could be the most critical decisions of your entire professional life.
That's quite a statement. And the speed.
Unprecedented,
Yeah.
faster than the internet's adoption curve. That's what the data suggests. It's accelerating.
Wow. Okay, so it demands immediate action strategy.
Absolutely. And success isn't about having like a slightly better model. It's about deep strategic integration across the whole enterprise.
Right. So over the next 30 minutes or so, what are we covering?
We'll hit the big economic shockwaves, the global trade stuff, then dive into the workforce, changes huge focus on this AI agent concept,
Okay.
and crucially, the skills. What you actually need to thrive in this. We're focusing on the opportunity, right? Not just the fear. Helping you navigate the AI opportunity, not get lost in the AI apocalypse.
Let's do it. Okay, let's unpack this idea of the AI imperative. The first big prediction from the sources is pretty direct. It's like your AI strategy either puts you way ahead.
Or makes it almost impossible to catch up later. The cost of catching up becomes prohibitive.
Yeah, but the interesting part is where that advantage comes from. It's not really about picking, say, the best LLM off the shelf.
That's the old mindset, focusing just on the vendor. The reports are really clear on this. The choice of the base model, it won't be the main differentiator for much longer.
Why not?
Because good general-purpose models are becoming more accessible. Everyone will have decent options soon, maybe within the next 18 months or so.
So the real edge comes from?
It's how you use it, how
Yeah.
you combine AI with your specific institutional knowledge, your proprietary data, your unique wills of working.
Making it intrinsic, turning your internal stuff into a competitive weapon, basically.
Exactly. That's where the lasting advantage lies. Not just using a tool, but embedding it in the operational fabric.
So if the tech itself is becoming more common, what does a winning strategy look like? PwC has this three-part portfolio thing, right?
Yeah, it's a really smart framework. It's about doing three things at once. Think of it like balancing your investments.
Okay, break it down for us.
First up is the ground game. This is about getting lots of small, steady wins systematically across the whole organization.
Like what kind of wins?
Think automating expense reports, yeah. Or drafting routine compliance docs. Maybe running daily maintenance checks using small data sets. Nothing flashy.
Right, the boring stuff that adds up.
Precisely. But the cumulative effect is huge. PwC suggests you can see 20, even 30% productivity or revenue gains just from nailing this ground game, systematically harvesting that value.
Okay, that's the foundation. What's next?
Then you've got roof shots. These are more ambitious, bigger projects, but still achievable. They need real resources, real buy-in.
Give me an example of a roof shot.
Maybe building a completely new generative AI customer service system across all your channels. Or totally redesigning a core product based on AI insights from market feedback.
Okay, so significant investment, medium-term payoff. Makes sense.
Exactly. Attainable, but requires focus.
And the third part, the really big swings.
The moonshots. High risk, super high reward. These are about creating entirely new AI-driven business models. Maybe new markets, new services.
Things that could fundamentally change the company.
Absolutely. And because they're so transformative, so resource-heavy, these have to be driven from the top. C-suite sponsorship, C-suite leadership, no question.
So the whole idea is you're covering your bases. Small wins, medium projects, and the big bets all running at the same time.
That's the strategic blueprint. It's the difference between just plugging in some AI tools and actually using AI to drive your core business goals.
Okay, that sets the internal scene.
Right.
But all this is happening against a backdrop of massive global economic shifts. Let's talk WTO projections. The numbers sound huge.
They are transformative, honestly. We're talking about reshaping global commerce, the WTO's latest report. It projects AI could boost the volume of global trade by 34 to 37%.
34 to 37%
MOAN.
by 2040. And that's just trade volume, global GDP. You could see a lift of 12 to 13% depending on the adoption scenario.
That's a staggering long-term impact. Where's that growth coming from mainly? Manufacturing? Services?
Overwhelmingly, it's digitally deliverable services. They're projected to see a 42% increase.
Wow. Why is such a big jump there? Well, think about what AI does to trade friction. It lowers costs dramatically. Language barriers. AI translation makes a small firm anywhere potentially accessible everywhere.
Right.
It automates customs paperwork, improves supply chain tracking in real time, boosts market intelligence across borders, plus AI services themselves are super tradable.
So easier and cheaper to trade globally, especially for services.
That's the core mechanism. Friction goes down, access goes up.
Okay, let's bring it back home to the U.S. economy. Productivity is the engine here. Penn Wharton put some numbers on this, right? We need to define TFP first, though. Total factor productivity. What is that in simple terms?
Good point. TFP is basically a measure of efficiency. It asks how much output, how much economic value are you getting for a set amount of input, like labor and capital?
So how smart your processes are.
Pretty much.
Oh.
And Penn Wharton, they estimate AI leads to a permanent increase in the level of economic activity, TFP and GDP levels. They see them 1.5% higher by 2035.
Okay, permanent step up.
And climbing to 3.7% higher by 2075. That's the long-term lift.
But what about the immediate boost, the acceleration we're feeling now? When does that peak?
Yeah, the boost to annual productivity growth happens earlier. That aligns with the fast adoption we mentioned. Penn Wharton sees that peak around 0.2 percentage points added to annual growth
When?
in the early 2030s. Then it starts to level off as adoption saturates.
So it's like a hump shape, fast growth, then normalizing.
Exactly. It mirrors what we saw with things like the internet. The economy gets permanently bigger and more efficient, but that initial super fast growth phase eventually settles down.
Okay, let's shift to the workforce. We hear so much about AI taking jobs, shrinking the workforce, but the sources, especially PwC, suggest something different.
Yeah.
Maybe even doubling capacity.
This is potentially the most profound shift. It hinges on this concept of AI agents.
Define that for us. What's an AI agent?
It's not just a tool you use. Think of it more like a digital worker. It can autonomously perform sequences of tasks, make decisions based on context, even correct its own mistakes sometimes, all without needing constant human hand-holding.
Okay, like what kind of tasks?
Handling routine customer chats from start to finish, generating a pretty good first draft of complex code, taking a design idea and turning it into a working prototype. They act like a digital team member.
Which means you have to manage them differently. You're managing humans and digital workers now.
Absolutely. The workflow changes completely. It's less about a human doing the task and more about a human instructing and overseeing the agents, or collaborating with them on trickier stuff.
So you need new management roles.
Yeah,
People who are good at managing this mixed workforce.
definitely. Dedicated roles focused on integrating, monitoring, governing these digital workers. And PwC actually goes further. They predict we might see specialized centers for agents emerging.
Centers for agents, replacing like centers of excellence.
Potentially,
Why is that such a big deal?
it creates this whole new layer of digital labor management, and it has huge IP and financial implications.
So
Well, if these agents, managed centrally, are generating intellectual property code, designs, reports, where is that value created? Strategically placing a center for agents in, say, a low-tax region could offer significant IP-related tax benefits.
like companies did with manufacturing or R&D hubs before.
Exactly. It changes where value gets created and accounted for on the books. It's a fundamental shift.
So the focus shifts from just cutting jobs to massively increasing what an organization can do. But okay, we have to talk about the displacement fears. People are worried. Let's get into the numbers: displacement versus creation. What do the World Economic Forum and Goldman Sachs say?
Yeah, the individual anxiety is totally valid, but the aggregate global picture, it points to a net gain. The WEF projects, I think it was 92 million jobs displaced globally by 2030 due to automation.
Okay, that sounds scary.
But they also project 170 million new jobs will be created in that same time frame, many involving working with AI.
So doing the math, that's a net gain of 78 million jobs.
Globally, yes, a huge net gain.
But hold on, is it replacing Like a high-paid programmer with a lower-paid AI supervisor. That doesn't feel like a win for everyone, or for overall wages. How do the sources handle the quality of these new jobs?
That's a really important point, the short-term correction. Goldman Sachs definitely acknowledges that. They estimate for the U.S. maybe 6 to 7% of the workforce could face displacement if AI adoption is widespread.
Okay.
But, and this is key, they see this as temporary frictional unemployment, that painful transition period where people need to reskill and find new roles.
How long does that usually last?
Historically, with big tech shifts, that kind of friction tends to dissipate after about 2 years. And remember, something like 60% of U.S. workers today are in jobs that didn't even exist in 1940. Technology ultimately creates more, often better jobs, but the transition hurts.
Right. Now, here's the part that really surprised me from Penn Wharton. It's not the lowest paid, lowest skilled jobs most at risk. That flips to the usual story. Who is most exposed?
It's counterintuitive, isn't it? The data points to occupations around the 80th percentile of earnings. Higher paid knowledge worker roles.
Why them?
Because a significant chunk of their work, maybe half, involves highly structured cognitive tasks that generative AI is getting really good at. Think programmers writing standard code blocks, accountants preparing routine reports, auditors reviewing structured data, high-level admin assistants managing complex but repeatable processes.
So the more structured and data-rich your cognitive work, the more vulnerable, even if you're paid well.
That seems to be the pattern. Their tasks are easier to feed into an AI.
And the least exposed, you said manual labor.
Exactly. The jobs requiring complex physical dexterity, navigating unpredictable real-world environments, or involving deep, unstructured human interaction, those are the least exposed.
Goldman Sachs listed some specific examples, right?
Yeah.
High risk versus low risk.
Yeah. High risk included computer programmers, legal assistants, credit analysts. Low risk, air traffic controllers, chief executives, and interestingly, members of the clergy.
CEOs and clergy. What protects them? Is it judgment? Trust? Something else?
It seems to be a mix. High-stakes judgment under uncertainty, like CEOs or air traffic controllers, and deep emotional, nuanced human connection, like clergy, therapists, nurses, tasks that are highly unstructured, context-dependent, and can't easily be boiled down into a prompt.
Okay, that clarifies who. Now let's look at how people are using these tools day to day. The Anthropic Index showed a big shift, right? Automation is actually overtaking augmentation.
Yes, this is a fascinating insight into user behavior and confidence. Anthropic makes this distinction. Augmentation is collaboration, human and AI working back and forth. Automation is more directive. User tells AI what to do. AI produces the final output with minimal tweaking.
And automation is winning.
It's risen sharply, from about 27% in late 2024 to 39% by August 2025. And overall, automation use at 49.1% now edges out augmentation at 47%. First time that's happened.
What does that tell us? People just trust the AI more now.
It strongly suggests rising user confidence. People are more willing to let the AI take the first and maybe final pass at sophisticated work, probably driven by the fact that models like Claude Opus 4 are just getting much better, much faster.
But didn't you mention a paradox in how different places use it?
Yeah, this is really interesting. Countries with higher per capita use the sophisticated. Early adopters actually tend to use it more for augmentation, for collaboration, suggests they've maybe moved past the basic automation stuff.
And lower use countries.
They lean more towards the initial automation use cases, the directive tasks. But here's the kicker for businesses. People using AI via APIs, so mostly businesses integrating it, they are overwhelmingly favoring automation. Like 77% of API conversations show automation patterns.
So businesses want the efficiency gains, the direct output. Consumers maybe want more of a partner.
That seems to be the trend. Businesses are laser focused on maximizing automated output.
Okay, let's quantify the value. Forget the macro stuff for a second. What are individual workers actually seeing? The Interview Guys report had a number that just jumped off the page.
Yeah.
A massive productivity boost.
Massive is the right word. They found a 66% average productivity improvement across business tasks for people using AI right now.
66%. That's not incremental.
No, it's transformative. And this isn't a forecast. This is current data. And interestingly, the biggest gains aren't just in basic admin tasks. They're in complex, cognitively demanding work.
Like what?
Like programming. They reported a 126% improvement in programming tasks using generative AI.
Wow. Okay, a 66% average boost. If a company isn't seeing that or something close, what are they doing wrong? Is it strategy? skills.
It probably comes back to that ground game strategy we talked about. Are they systematically integrating AI into everyday workflows?
Yeah.
Do their employees have the basic AI literacy to use the tools effectively? Because the financial impact is direct.
Oh.
The data shows industries heavily exposed to AI are now seeing 3 times higher growth in revenue per employee compared to sectors lagging behind.
3 times. That's a huge competitive gap opening up.
Absolutely. That 66% productivity gain translates directly into market differentiation and financial performance. If you're missing out, you're likely falling behind fast.
Okay, so efficiency is one thing. What about speed? Innovation speed. PwC had a prediction about cutting product life cycles, right?
Yeah, prediction 5. This is about fundamentally changing R&D. Multimodal AI, the kind that understands text, images, code, simulations, chemical structures all at once, is revolutionizing it.
How much faster are we talking?
PwC projects that adopting AI properly in R&D can cut time to market by 50% and lower R&D costs by 30%. Think industries like automotive, aerospace, where iteration is complex and expensive.
15% faster to market. That could completely reset competitive dynamics in a sector.
It already is in some areas. Pharmaceuticals, for example, they've already used AI to slash early-stage drug discovery timelines by over 50%.
Incredible. What's stopping every R&D lab from doing this tomorrow? Is it the tech? The cost?
The biggest bottleneck, skills. The AI tools are largely there, but you need engineers, scientists, designers who understand their domain and know how to leverage these complex AI tools effectively. That foundational data science, that AI integration know-how, it's often missing in the core R&D teams.
So massive upskilling is needed to unlock that 50% speed boost.
Rapid, targeted upskilling. That's the key enabler.
Okay, now let's tackle something that feels like a contradiction. AI uses tons of energy, we know that, but PwC's prediction 4 claims AI will actually help sustainability goals. How does that work?
It does seem paradoxical, right? But the reconciliation comes down to strategic use and, well, using AI to solve the energy problem itself.
Explain that.
First, pragmatically, PwC notes that energy supply constraints, especially tight in 2025, mean AI deployment has to be a value play, not a volume one. You can't just run massive models for everything. You have to be strategic, deploy the power where the ROI justifies the energy cost.
Use the power wisely.
Exactly. But longer term, AI is seen as essential for driving sustainability. It can optimize energy grids, predict demand to integrate renewables better, manage complex energy storage systems. It can accelerate the whole energy transition.
Okay, so using AI to manage energy systems.
Yeah.
What about for individual companies and their sustainability reporting?
Huge help there, too. Think about all the new ESG disclosure regulations coming online globally. Collecting and analyzing all that disparate data emissions, water use, supply chain impacts is incredibly complex and manual right now. AI can automate a lot of that. Collect the data once, analyze it consistently, generate the reports needed for different frameworks. It saves immense time, effort, and probably energy associated with compliance itself.
And don't forget the indirect efficiencies, right? Like that faster R&D.
Absolutely. If you cut your drug discovery time in half, you've also cut the total energy consumed during that lengthy process significantly. Plus, AI can optimize existing operations, making buildings smarter about heating and cooling, optimizing logistics routes, reducing waste in manufacturing. It's about using intelligence to reduce overall resource consumption.
So we've established AI's power, but its adoption is clearly not happening evenly. The Anthropic and WTO data paint a picture of, well, a real divide. Globally and even within the U.S., why is it so patchy?
The biggest factor, globally at least, is wealth and existing digital infrastructure. It's a strong correlation. Anthropic found a 1% higher GDP per capita links to about a 0.7% higher AI usage.
But richer countries adopt faster.
Generally, yes. Especially small, advanced, tech-savvy nations, think Israel, Singapore, South Korea, they lead in per capita use because they have the infrastructure and a knowledge-based economy ready for it.
And within the U.S., is it just state wealth driving it?
Wealth plays a role, yeah. A 1% higher state GDP per capita correlates with a 1.8% higher use of cloud, which is even stronger. But it's also heavily influenced by the type of economy in each region.
How so?
Washington, D.C. is highest per capita. Why? Tons of knowledge work editing, report generation, policy research. Then you see states like Utah and California, big hubs for coding and tech. New York, driven by finance. They're all high.
Okay.
But even states with lower overall usage show patterns tied to their specific economy. Hawaii, for example, uses AI relatively less overall, but they over-index on tourism tasks, generating itineraries, answering complex travel queries.
Fascinating. But this unevenness, it creates a serious risk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for poorer countries falling further behind.
Absolutely. The WTO modeled this, and it's worrying. If low-income economies don't close that digital infrastructure gap, their income gains from AI might only be around 8% by 2040.
Compared to what for richer countries?
Compared to maybe 14% for high-income economies, that's a widening gap. However, if those lower-income countries can invest and catch up somewhat on infrastructure and adoption, their income growth could jump to 15%, potentially even exceeding the richer nations in that scenario.
So closing the digital divide is absolutely critical for equitable growth.
It's make or break, really. Otherwise, AI risks exacerbating global inequality significantly.
Okay, managing these risks, ensuring value. This brings us to responsible AI, or RAI. PwC Prediction 3 basically says RAI isn't just nice to have anymore, it's essential for ROI.
It's a fundamental shift in thinking. As AI gets embedded deeper and deeper, making loan decisions, diagnosing patients, interacting constantly with customers, managing the risks, can't be an afterthought.
No, not.
Because inconsistent risk management is just too dangerous now. A major failure-biased outcomes, a big data breach, a safety incident can destroy trust instantly. And that trust is directly linked to long-term financial value, brand reputation, everything.
So companies need to get ahead of regulators.
Leaders need to champion this internally because it protects the business and ensures the AI investments actually pay off sustainably. It's moving from a compliance checkbox to a core strategic pillar.
What are the first steps companies need to take, practically speaking?
Two key things. First, a thorough, systematic AI risk assessment. You need a standard way, a taxonomy, to look at risks across the board.
What kind of risks?
Risks in the models themselves: bias, fairness, explainability. Risks in the data used to train them: quality, privacy, provenance. Risks in the systems they run on: security, reliability. Risks from the user's misuse, lack of skills, legal and compliance risks, and the impact on business processes. It has to be comprehensive.
Okay, assess everything. What's the second step?
Independent validation. You need someone, either an upskilled internal audit team or a trusted third-party specialist, to check your homework, to verify that your AI governance, your controls, are actually working, robust, and transparent, especially for high-risk applications.
Got it. Now, we focused a lot on the upside, but we have to be honest about the downsides too. The Guardian called it unfettered growth with hidden costs. Let's talk environment first.
Yeah, we can't ignore this. The energy consumption is a major headline concern. The IEA, the International Energy Agency, expects global data center electricity use to more than double just between 2024 and 2030.
Double? To what level?
To a level equal to the entire current electricity demand of Japan. It's staggering. And the most advanced AI models, they use vastly more energy per query, potentially thousands of times more than simpler models.
That's huge. And it's not just electricity, right? There's the water issue too.
Exactly. Data centers need massive amounts of water for cooling, especially the big hyperscale ones, often built in places where water isn't exactly abundant.
How much water are we talking?
Research cited by The Guardian put it starkly. Fulfilling one complex prompt on Google Gemini can use the equivalent of about 5 drops of water. Sounds small, but multiply that by billions of queries. It adds up fast and puts real strain on local water resources. Forecasting this demand is becoming a major challenge.
Okay, energy and water are critical environmental costs. What about the social costs that are emerging?
They are definitely emerging and need serious attention. One big area is education. Real concerns about students maybe losing core cognitive skills like critical thinking and writing if they rely too heavily on chatbots. Governments are starting to look at stricter guidelines for schools.
Makes sense. Any other major social concerns?
Mental health is another area. There have been alarming reports, tragic cases even, where chatbots allegedly played a role in deepening mental health crises. This has pushed companies like OpenAI to implement stronger safety guardrails and warnings. It just highlights that the societal impacts need much more careful consideration than this kind of gold rush adoption pace often allows.
Okay, let's bring this down to specific industries, because AI's impact looks very different depending on where you sit. PwC had a prediction focused on this, and Workalytics has benchmarks on adoption rates. Let's go through a few key sectors.
Yeah, the patterns are distinct, driven by regulation, data sensitivity, competitive pressures, all sorts of things.
Where's the highest adoption right now?
Technology, media, and telecom TMT. No surprise there, really. High performers in TMT are seeing 85–95% weekly AI usage among relevant employees.
And what's the big impact there beyond just using it internally?
Product development gets faster, internal ops gets smoother. But a really interesting angle is how AI agents might start changing the game for big software platforms, like ERP systems.
How so?
Well, instead of ripping and replacing a huge, complex ERP system, AI agents could potentially customize, integrate, and extend the life of existing systems, doing the complex integration work that used to cost millions in consulting fees.
So it could shift the software business model away from huge upgrades towards AI integration services.
Potentially, yeah. Offering tailored AI solutions that make your existing systems work better together. It's a fascinating dynamic. Also worth noting, tech employment has dipped below pre-pandemic trends recently, and unemployment's up a bit for younger tech workers.
Interesting. Okay, what about financial services? Always more cautious, right?
Definitely. Heavy regulation, high stakes if something goes wrong. So median usage is lower, maybe 50–60%. The real action is concentrated in two places: nimble AI-native fintech startups challenging the incumbents, and the huge institutions that can afford the massive compliance and governance overhead.
What are they using it for primarily?
Risk and compliance are huge. Sophisticated fraud detection, real-time portfolio stress testing, identifying insider trading patterns, automating regulatory reporting. Getting those foundational compliance frameworks right this year is critical for them. Delay means falling behind fast.
Makes sense. Now, professional services, consulting, legal, accounting, they seem to be adopting really quickly now.
Yeah, fastest growth in usage, hitting 60–70% median usage. AI is a natural fit here. It can handle so much of the routine cognitive work.
Like what?
Researching case law, drafting standard contracts, synthesizing due diligence findings, preparing initial analysis for reports. It frees up the human professionals
To do what?
to focus on the higher value stuff: client relationship building, strategic advice, complex negotiation, solving messy, multifaceted problems. It fundamentally shifts their value proposition upwards.
Okay, health industries.
Yeah.
Sensitive data, life or death stakes. How are they navigating AI?
They're expecting regulations to become a bit more flexible, which should accelerate things. We already mentioned the huge impact on drug and device development, cutting timelines dramatically.
Well, what about on the provider side? Hospitals, clinics?
Top priorities there are workforce challenges, using AI to help fill clinical staff shortages, optimize scheduling, handle billing and admin. But because of the sensitive data and high stakes, responsible AI is absolutely paramount. Governance has to be incredibly rigorous. Using it for diagnosis support, yes, but with extreme caution and oversight.
Got it. Lastly, consumer markets. Retail, consumer goods. Where's the AI edge for them?
It's mainly across marketing, supply chain optimization, and customer service. Using engaging chatbots, sure, but also AI agents to back up human service reps with instant, accurate info.
What about driving revenue directly?
The big lever there is AI-driven dynamic pricing. Forget weekly price changes. AI models can adjust prices almost instantly based on real-time inventory, competitor moves, demand signals, even local weather forecasts. It maximizes revenue and minimizes unsold stock or waste. That's a huge direct impact.
Okay, we've seen AI creates more jobs than it removes, and it gives this incredible 66% productivity lift. Let's connect that back to you, the listener. The opportunity is clearly there, and the data shows skilling up pays off, big time.
The reward is definitely there, and it's immediate. But the need to adapt is also urgent. Skills demands in jobs exposed to AI are changing 66% faster than just a year ago. It was 25% then, now 66%. Job roles are literally evolving in real time.
66% faster.
Yeah.
That's intense. But what's the payoff for keeping up? You mentioned a wage premium.
A huge one. Workers with relevant AI skills are commanding a 56% wage premium compared to their peers in similar roles without those AI skills.
56%. That's up significantly from last year too, right?
Yeah, it was around 25% last year. It's more than doubled.
Why is that premium so incredibly high right now? Is it just scarcity?
It's a perfect storm, really. Scarcity, yes, there aren't enough people who can truly bridge the gap between understanding the tech and applying it strategically to business problems. And immediate ROI companies know that integrating AI drives that 3x higher revenue per employee. So paying a 56% premium for the talent to make that happen, it's a no-brainer investment for them.
So the market is screaming for people who can connect the dots between the tech and the business outcome.
Exactly. That's the golden skill set right now.
Okay, so what skills specifically? If someone wants to capture that premium, What are the core areas they need to focus on? You mentioned 3 categories,
Yeah, 3 core buckets. First, and this is foundational, is AI literacy.
which is more than just prompting.
Oh, way more. It's knowing how to prompt effectively, yes, but also understanding the limitations. Knowing when the AI might be hallucinating or making things up. Knowing how to structure complex prompts for difficult tasks. And critically, knowing how to verify, critique, and synthesize the AI's output, not just taking it at face value.
Okay, foundational literacy. What's second?
The evolving technical skills. Your traditional tech roles aren't going away, but they are changing. Coders need to know how to work with AI code assistants. Data analysts need to understand AI model outputs. Architects need to design AI-ready systems.
Any specific technical areas in high demand?
Cybersecurity is a big one, projected 32% growth. You need people who can secure the AI models themselves, manage the data securely, protect against new AI-powered threats like sophisticated phishing or deepfakes. Technical depth is still vital, but now it needs that AI layer.
Makes sense. And the third category, the uniquely human skills.
These are becoming maybe the most important differentiator.
Yeah.
As AI handles more routine analysis and content creation, the skills that are hard to automate become exponentially more valuable.
Like what?
Leadership, emotional intelligence, building relationships, building trust, complex negotiation, mentorship, strategic thinking, seeing the bigger picture that the AI might miss. It's the stuff that requires judgment, empathy, context, the skills the CEO and the clergy rely on.
Right. The human connection and high-level judgment.
Wow.
Okay, so if we had this massive productivity boost, people are skilling up. What does this mean for how we actually work, the standard work week? Leaders are talking about big changes.
The predictions are pretty radical, actually. You hear CEOs talking about 32-hour weeks, maybe even 3.5-day weeks becoming standard for knowledge workers very soon.
Is that realistic? Or just talk?
Well, it's not just talk anymore. We have real-world data. Look at the big UK 4-day week trial. They cut average hours from 38 down to 34. And what happened to revenue for those companies? It actually rose by 1.4% during the trial. AI makes those kinds of efficiency gains much more scalable across the economy.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. A shorter week, same or better output. What's the catch?
The catch is crucial. These same AI tools could easily be used to just pile more work into those fewer hours. Automating simple steps might just lead to higher expectations for output, faster turnaround times, more pressure on the remaining human tasks, creativity, complex problem solving.
So it could lead to burnout if not managed well.
Exactly. It puts a huge emphasis on the need for thoughtful, human-centered management. How do we use this efficiency gain to improve quality of life and strategic focus? Or just to crank the output meter even higher? That's the critical leadership challenge. Hashtag outro.
We have covered so much ground today, really digging into the reality of AI in 2025, the strategy, the economics, the impact on all of us. If we had to recap the absolute must-know takeaways.
I'd say 4 things jump out. 1, strategy is king, not just adoption. That 3-part portfolio, ground game, roof shots, moon shots is key. 2, despite the fear, the data points to massive net job creation globally with that huge 56% wage premium for those who adapt.
Okay.
3, the immediate impact is real, that 66% average productivity boost users are seeing now. And 4, responsible AI isn't optional. It's fundamental for trust, for sustained ROI, and for managing those serious environmental and social costs.
Couldn't agree more.
And stepping back, the overwhelming theme is unevenness. The transformation is incredibly fast, yes, but it's hitting different regions, different income levels, different industries very differently. We see that split sophisticated collaboration, augmentation in the high-use areas versus more directive automation elsewhere, especially in business API use.
So success really hinges on actively shaping your own relationship with these tools, not just being passive.
Absolutely, and actively building those uniquely human skills that complement the tech. That's where the opportunity lies.
Right. So let's leave everyone listening with a final thought to chew on. A provocative question, maybe.
Okay.
We know automation is becoming dominant for businesses. We know from Anthropic's data that the financial value AI creates matters way more to them than the cost of running it. So if you were leading one of these frontier firms today, right at the cutting edge, how would you redesign your core workflows, not just to be tech-powered, but to optimize for both maximum machine efficiency and maximum human creativity and strategic input? How do you genuinely bridge that gap, moving beyond just adopting tools to becoming truly human-led, but AI-operated?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Something for you all to think about. We'll leave it there for this deep dive.